So, name, rank?
My name is Sergeant Cory Ivins, junior to be exact. I'm 26 years old. I've been in the United States Army for about 7 years. We'll be 8 in November. I served as a 25 uniform, which is Signal Support System Specialist, or as we know it in radio, Signal Everything, because we pretty much do everything in Signal. That's a little short brief about me.
So, how's your experience here in the Warrior Games been so far?
I've had a lot of fun in the Warrior Games. This is my second year here, so I'm kind of here as a vet. Unfortunately, we only get 2 years to play the Warrior Games unless you're invited back for a third year. So knowing that I only get 2 years, I kind of just gave my all in every event that I did. Knowing that, I could not be back for a third year. I tried to be, the spark plug for the entire team, give them that motivation to, when they were lacking it, just try to give them those words of encouragement that I feel everybody needs and even that I need at certain times. So and knowing that and doing that, I would just try to have as much fun as possible because this is the chance and the time to get away from work. For all the stressors to just leave them back at home. You're here to compete and have fun, meet people from other branches, and just be excited about the chance that you get to compete on this level.
How do you feel that you're here on your second year and you might not come back in the third year?
Honestly, I'm just grateful for the opportunity. I don't expect to come back for a third year. Not that, I'm good or bad or anything. I don't consider it that way. I just consider it, hey, I was blessed and lucky enough, talented or skilled enough to be here the 2 years that I was here. So if I don't get invited back a third year, it won't hurt my feelings. I know I did everything that I could when I was here, and that's all that's important to me. I didn't leave anything to where I would regret it later, saying I wish I would have did this. No, I did everything that I wanted to do, and my results, I have 3 medals so far, and we'll just see how the rest of my events go.
What are the medals you have?
The medals I have a silver in seated discus, seated shot put. I have a bronze in seated discus, and I have a bronze in wheelchair basketball. We play for bronze in seated volleyball on Sunday.
Sweet. So being here, what's your support system? Who's supporting you while you're here?
My wife, Mary Ivins, and my son, Cameron Ivins, they're here. Of course, the entire Team Army, they're very supportive. They give us words of encouragement daily, telling us, don't stress about the small things, control what you can control, which I try to focus on daily, because if you try to get out that realm of, oh, it's raining outside, my day's gonna suck. No, you control what you can control. You can't control the weather. So if your events are outside and they say, hey, you have to perform outside, you just gotta perform outside. You gotta, take those practice shots, adjust, and just try to do your best. So like I said, control what you can control. The Team Army has my back knowing that, and my family, so they're very supportive.
Great. I heard you just won your basketball game.
I did.
What's your family think about that?
They're very excited. They're excited because although we couldn't go for the gold, we said, hey, since we're in this bronze match, we're going to give everything that we got, and we did. We got up to a big lead in the first half. Fortunately, maybe we pressed too hard on the gas, tired ourselves out a little bit, but we kept the lead. They never came back too close to where we thought we were going to lose. We were in control of the game the entire time, and we're all excited about it. I mean, it's not gold, but maybe next year. Unfortunately, we lost a three-peat, or four-peat, because we had won 3 years in a row, and this was the chance for the fourth, but maybe next year.
So, what's your diagnosis? Like, what qualified you to be here inside this Warrior Games event?
Okay, so my injuries, back in 2016, I had blown out both my patellar tendons, my left and my right leg. You have one per leg. That was in 2016. I had the surgery at the same time. So for about 3 to 6 months, I was unable to walk. Then I needed a second surgery on my right leg because that one had the tendon itself had got messed up. So they had to redo it. They put an allograft in my leg, but it didn't hold. So I had to do it a third time. So that was what got me my 3 surgeries on my knees. And then as I was going through the med ward, I had got an MRI on my ear because I was having some trouble with my hearing, and they found a tumor on my spinal cord. So I had to stop the med board and get that cut out. It was a nerve sheath tumor. It was between the 4th and the 5th portion of my spine. So what they did, they went in, they cut that entire section out. So between the second and the fifth piece of my spine, they cut it out. They put a metal piece there to kind of hold it in place, and a rod on the other side to kind of balance it out. So I have a rod and a piece of metal in my neck, and those are my disabilities that kind of qualify me to participate in the Warrior Games.
Okay. So you're here at the Warrior Games. There's people watching this all over the world. How do you feel being such a, you're inspiring all these people?
To be honest, I don't really think about it. I feel like, when you kind of focus too much on that, it starts to take you away from the game or the competition, because you start to think too much about people watching you, what they're thinking about you, if they're judging you. And I don't let that cloud my mind. I mean, I'm grateful that, I'm here on this stage being watched by the audience, and, they're rooting for me or booing for me, whatever they're doing. I'm glad that they're doing it, whichever one it is, but I don't pay any attention to it because I don't want it to take away from what I'm doing, the sports that I'm doing. So I just try to focus on the game and let everything else on the outside be on the outside.
Cool. Okay. That's a good way to think about it. So the Warrior Games, what does it mean to you?
The Warrior Games mean a lot to me. I'd be kind of disappointed if they took it away, because I feel like this is a good venue for, soldiers with disabilities to get out and, show that just because you have this disability or that one, it doesn't stop you from being a person or an athlete. You can still get out and, do these adaptive sports, because your disabilities don't define you. I kind of felt like as I was going into my disabilities, as they started racking up, I felt like they were starting to define me. And, my good friend, Buddy Karolov, he was my sports rec at the time. He was like, yo, man, I understand that you have these injuries, but you just got to drive on, because it's the Army way. Yeah, it sucks, but just because you can't go out and run 100 meters, let's just say 4 seconds flat anymore, you can do the best that you can. You have to adapt to what you are dealing with. So inserts adaptive sports, wheelchair basketball is the first thing I kind of picked up on. I don't want to go as far as it saved my life, but it kind of saved my life because I had got to such a low point that, that the getting up every day and playing Army and just dealing with everything that I was dealing with, I didn't want to go through with it anymore. But, he kind of grabbed me. He was like, try this, do this, just something to get my mind off of everything. And I started liking it. And then he said, well, there's this great opportunity for you called the Warrior Games. I'm going to train you up and we're going to send you. So that was back in 2017. And I went to Texas, was that El Paso, and I loved it. And they called me back. They said, hey, we want you to come out for the Warrior Games. And the first year in Colorado, it was so exciting. I can't explain the feelings and the emotions that I had, because just to think the year before, I didn't want to do anything. And then the very next year, it's like I felt like I was on top of the world, just because, I had found an outlet, something to channel my emotions, something to make me feel like an entire person again. So I'm very grateful for the Warrior Games, and I hope it never goes anywhere, because there's other people in the world, I'm sure like me, maybe worse, maybe better, that need the Warrior Games. They don't know it yet, but it will help them realize that just because, you have the disability, it doesn't define who you are.
Sweet. I just want to take a side note. Man, dude, you're inspirational. And your punctuations are perfect. I'm like, whoa, fuck.
Thank you.
It's better than me. I can't do that. Well, you got that second point, but I have a personal thing I wanted to say. So your friends and family, do you want to say anything to me and the camera for your friends and family?
I thank them all. The thing about being an athlete, it gets frustrating, the time periods between competitions, the training that you have to do, the diet. Obviously, I don't stick well to that diet, but it gets frustrating for the athlete and the family, because there's so much time that you have to put into what you're doing, the sport that you're going into, and it takes time away from the family. and I'm not saying me, but just other families, they're not always considerate, or they're not always willing to give that time to the athlete. But my friends and family are. So from speaking from my perspective, I'm grateful for it, because everybody doesn't get that chance or that opportunity to go do what they have to do, because they always have to worry about their families. But my friends and family, they understand, and they're very supportive of me. So I just appreciate everything that they do for me, and the time that they let me just have to myself to perform and to practice so I can be the best that I can be.
Sweet.